absolutely loved TV when I was little. Loved it. But now it seems like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, they've kind of like lost their flair. At least I feel like anyway. And I kind of feel like really old talking about this because like all the kids now are like Miley Cyrus, iCarly, oh my god, and they're so into these shows, and I'm just like, that's not TV. That is not entertainment. And I stick by that. But I mean, everybody feels like something's better from their generation or from their decade of coming of age or growing up or whatever. So I have a couple of 90s TV shows that I'm gonna talk about. My first show that I have on my list is, this is not in any particular order of which show I like the best or worst or whatever. But the first show I'm gonna mention is Rugrats. How many people loved Rugrats until they grew up or whatever? But oh my god, that show was kind of good. Okay. Rugrats. I loved Rugrats. I mean, that show was so, it was cute. And I mean, who couldn't relate to a couple of babies trying to get into trouble? And everybody wanted to be Tommy or Lil or, everybody loved Tommy, with his screwdriver and his diaper and his little blue shirt. And everybody loved Chucky with his red hair and, Tommy, are we gonna get in trouble? And everybody always remembered Phil and Lil for eating dirt and worms, and Angelica for being a total bitch and eating all the cookies. And Susie. I don't really know what Susie was known for except for like mediating the whole situation between the babies and Angelica. And nobody ever really knew how old Angelica was until that episode where she had like her birthday and she didn't want to grow up, and she was turning like 3. I was like, she was turning like 4 or something. I'm like, you're turning 4, dude. Get over it. You're not turning 57. You're turning 4. Okay, next show on my list, Doug. And I'm not talking about Disney's Doug. I'm talking about Nickelodeon's Doug. Stick it to him. I'm talking about Nickelodeon's Doug. Why? Because that was the original Doug, and that was the best Doug ever. And everybody, one thing that I want to say is that I was having a conversation with somebody, and this was a while ago, and they had mentioned something to me that I never noticed before. And I noticed it, but I never thought of it as funny. And the person said to me, have you ever noticed that when Patty Mayonnaise always used to come, anytime Doug used to see Patty Mayonnaise, there always used to be this music like, oh. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And then this weird light would come from behind her. I was like, wow, poor Doug. He gets no action. But how old was Doug? Doug was in like high school, right? He was supposed to be like 14 or something. He was supposed to be awkward. Whatever. He was awkward, and everybody knows Skeeter was black. Okay, my next show is actually a show that they used to show on Nick Gas before they turned it into the end. So the show is Double Dare 2000. Oh my gosh, how badly did everybody want to be on that show? Either that or Legends of the Hidden Temple. Oh my gosh, I wanted to be on Legends of the Hidden Temple. I wanted to be on Double Dare 2000. I wanted to be on Figure It Out. I wanted to be on all those shows. And, or Guts. Oh my gosh. The thing about those shows is that especially Double Dare 2000 and Gutsy, Legends of the Hidden Temple, oh my gosh. It always used to be like, go, go, go. And there was like 5 seconds on the clock. And let me tell you, with Double Dare 2000, there was always the father that messed something up. The father, to me, from what I remember, it was always the father who dropped the flag. It was always the father who went into the obstacle course the wrong way. It was always the father who skipped a step. Like, you forgot to pull this line down. You forgot to go through the balls. You forgot to do something. It was always the father forgetting to do something. Legends of the Hidden Temple, it always got down to like the last 5 seconds, and then the person would be like one room away, and you're like, you can do it, you can do it. And they didn't do it. And it always used to hurt so much. It was like, because you feel like if you were in there, you could have did it. And that was the excitement of television. That was the excitement of having a game show. And they don't even have game shows on anymore on Nickelodeon and stuff. I guess kids aren't just into that stuff, but I doubt it. Ratings or whatever, but I think that game shows were like so fun to watch and so fun to obviously be a part of. So, my next show is Our Real Monsters. Oh my gosh. Our Real Monsters. Oh. I forgot what the show was called until somebody told me what it was called, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're talking about Our Real Monsters." I'm like, "Yeah." And I felt like I was the only person on the face of the earth that remembered this. And there's a lot of forgotten shows that I'm not talking about. I'm only talking about like the major shows. So Our Real Monsters. In case you don't remember, it was the show where the monsters used to work underground and they used to like scare people. I don't know what it was. I don't really remember what it was about. I just remember the one person that I know everybody probably remembers is that little guy. He looked kind of like this, and he had a mouth down here, and these were his hands, and he used to hold his eyeballs in his hands. And yeah, I just used to like that show. That's all. Didi, get out of my laboratory. Everybody remembers that. Everybody remembers Dexter's Laboratory and the Powerpuff Girls. How fun was it to watch Dexter's Laboratory and want to punch the shit out of Didi. Didi, get out! You know, it was just kind of, it was like, oh, yeah, I feel you, Dexter. I feel you. Didi, get out. And you know what I never realized was that Didi was a ballerina. Like, seriously. Like, I mean, I knew she was a ballerina, but I don't know, when you get into ballet, it's kind of, think of it in a different capacity. Anyway. So, my next show is Cow and Chicken and Ed and Nettie. Gonna kind of combine them here. Okay, Cow and Chicken was funny. I really don't remember what it was about. I just remember it was about a man and a woman raising a cow and a chicken who could speak to them, and we never saw their parents' faces. And I don't really remember that show. I just remember that it was kind of funny, you know, kind of watch it. It came on Cartoon Network. Ed, Ed and Eddie. Ed, Ed and Eddie was one of those shows that just made absolutely no sense, but it was funny because I mean, they were really dumb. And like I always remember their quest for jawbreakers and the bullies who used to like foil their plots and stuff. And I think the funniest part about it was the kid with the plank. I really can't remember. I just remember that there was a kid with a plank, and I think the kid's name was Plank. I think the plank's name was Plank. So what do you want to do today, Plank? Okay, next show, Lizzie McGuire. Lizzie McGuire was, to me, it was kind of like the first version of That's So Raven in a way, if you kind of get where I'm going with that. You know, the one male friend, the two female friends, you know, they have problems and everyday situations and blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's a Raven. Anyway, how old was That's a Raven supposed to be anyway? But anyway, Lizzie McGuire. Lizzie McGuire was a good show because it was relatable, and it was a good show. I mean, there were certain parts of it I think that were really funny, like Ethan Kraft. The one thing I remember about Ethan Kraft was that anytime they showed him, or anytime like Lizzie was talking to him, they would always show him and he would be like, and all you would hear is shh in his head. Like, wow, that's sad. And I think it was cute how at the end, like the last episode, they finally get together. Lizzie and Gordo, they don't get together, but like she kisses him in the class picture. I thought that was so cute. I thought that was nice. I was like, wow. And then the show ends. Like, wow, really? And then of course they put on That's So Raven, who nobody knew how old she really was. It was so weird. Anyway, I used to love Hey Arnold, and I know I say that about every show, but I mean, how could you not love Arnold? You know, his hair, moving football head, and of course the weird kid who always used to get punched by Helga. I think the reason why Hey Arnold was so popular was because Arnold was like an ordinary kid, and then there was like so many extraordinary characters on that show who were just really weird and funny, and there was one episode to focus on each character. The episode where Stinky got famous, the episode where Sid tried to pretend like Arnold's room was his room, the episode where Phoebe wanted to meet this famous guy and he wasn't what she turned out to be. So not only was it starring Arnold, not only was it about Arnold, but it was also about Arnold's friends and what was going on in Arnold's neighborhood. So it kind of made you feel like, oh hey Arnold, like you knew Arnold and you knew his friends. And I loved Hey Arnold. I mean, damn, like I swear one day I'm gonna go and get all of these shows on DVD, like for real. I love Hey Arnold. Okay, so this was part 1 of my 90s TV series. Part 2 is coming up, and I had to do this in 2 parts because it was literally that long. So stay tuned for part 2.